So, hello and welcome to our latest episode of the Kith Kin Podcast, Stories from the Hospitality Industry. I'm really happy to welcome Tom and Lee here to tell us all about the ups and downs that have brought them to where they are and what makes the hospitality industry so special. So, hi to both of you. Thank you for coming and joining me on this conversation. And so, can we just start with an introduction to who you are and what you do?
I'm Lee. I'm Tom. And we're at Rustic Kitchen. We serve award-winning brunch. Yay! To a discerning customer. Yeah. So basically we started a cafe, deli, and we wanted to provide yummy food that we want to serve to the public, really. And it's gone all right.
Yeah, it wants to be a place where, like, chefs want to go as well.
Yeah.
Without being like the chef's cafe, we want it to be decent plate of food, really, with awesome coffee and a great vibe. And so far, I think we're achieving.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we wanted a restaurant, but without the frills. We wanted someone just to walk in off the street and have restaurant quality food and not be able to book a table, faff around, dress up. You can come in what you want, lounge around, have a croissant, cup of coffee, and then go on your way kind of thing, but have that quality of food that a restaurant would provide as well.
100%. And also, similarly, just based on our lifestyles, we've both worked in restaurants for many years and have also actually managed to get out of the restaurants for many years in that not having the lifestyle of a restaurateur, i.e. working every Christmas Day, every New Year's Eve, every evening, moreover, and have been able to have the flexibility to have family life. You know, we've got young families as well, and need to balance that. So that's what the cafe kind of gave us.
We wanted the quality of food that we crave, but also the lifestyle that we want as well. And even that, having that balance was really, I think we've achieved it quite well. Definitely.
Okay, so I just need to declare a slight interest in that your venue is just down the road from me, and so it is one of my favourites. But we've never met properly. So I'm going to ask you to tell your story, and I don't know it at all. But your venue is up amongst the finalists for the Kith Kin Hospitality Awards for Leicestershire. So congratulations on that. And obviously I have nothing to do with the judging, but I do know that your venue is absolutely outstanding and amazing, and all the things that you've just described it as from somebody from the industry, and you walk into a place and you can tell the quality and the passion and all of that is the second you walk in there. I absolutely love it. Let's start from the beginning. It's difficult because there's both of you, but let's see if we get to both of you get your stories in. Who's going to start?
Start?
Go ahead, mate.
I can start. So getting to chefing, it was kind of always something that I wanted to do. And just starting up, going through Leicester College and started working in a local pub, started off in a Hungry Horse. Weren't too great, but there's that kind of hospitality that you can learn different things from. You're not necessarily learning the food, but you're learning speed in the kitchen and how to move and how to interact with people as well. Then I moved to the Case, which is a legendary restaurant in Leicester. I worked there for 5 years, working my way up to head chef in the end, before moving to Hammer and Pincers, which I had 2.5 great years there, meeting some great people. And I met Tom there as well. This one here, he was head chef when I started. And we just chatted, and we always chatted about something like this. Like, we were prepping away in the morning, and we was like, it'd be great if we could serve, like, have a cafe, have a sandwich shop kind of thing, and do this and do that. And you see all the sandwich shops and things that don't really hit what you want. And we were like, oh, it'd be great if we could do this. And then we kind of went off on our separate ways. Tom went to do his wedding catering, and I went into food development. So I basically had 8-9 years of developing food for restaurants and supermarkets around the country. So going to presentations and designing food and trying to sell food to the big companies and like Tesco and Casual Dining Group and Michelin Butlers and people like that. And did that for about 9 years. and I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the lifestyle and stuff. And I was about to move to a new job within food development when COVID hit. And then obviously with all the changes, the new job basically said, we can't afford you now. And my old job had replaced me.
That £1 million bill.
Oh,
Too much for them, mate.
it was. You're too expensive for us. I was like, I know, I'm not good. Yeah, so that was a bad kind of point, because for the first time in my life, I was kind of out of a job. And I was like, what do I do? And then the whole world closed down. And I was like, sound. We've got
Yeah,
nothing
it's
to
all
do.
right.
But
Yeah.
also, that also kind of created Rustic Kitchen as well. Because I kind of started Rustic Kitchen as a side thing, doing wedding favours for 3 or 4 years. And it was did a few jobs and kind of started and put it off while development got a bit more serious. And then basically Tom rang us whilst we was in furlough, and it was like, do you want to do this thing that we've always talked about? And then we kind of used Tom's disused unit for this time being, to basically make some sausage rolls, make some donuts, and basically put a table out in his front room in the unit, and started selling to Tailhampton, really. And it can then kind of gather momentum from there. Nights, as in breakaway nights, because obviously people are still locked down, so people come and collect or deliver takeaways and stuff. And then we'll open the shop on a Saturday morning. Yeah, and it kind of could gather momentum. And then we started looking for a place, and then we found where we are now.
Brilliant.
Which
So
was a
Tom,
derelict
how about,
building.
Yeah, I think
how
that's
do we
quite a
get,
good time to cross the
yeah,
road.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, because then we're going to get there.
My hospitality desire started when I was 7 years old, when I ate spaghetti carbonara, and I was absolutely blown away by what I was being fed. And it was just like, how do I make something taste so amazing? Because this is awesome. And I was pretty addicted from cooking at that age. So 7 years old, I used to run home from school and start cooking for my family every night, or most nights. And my parents thought that was wicked. And they really supported me, actually. I forget, and I forget to thank them. I think I should thank them. Thanks, Mum. You still get anything for free. That's the running joke. She won't get it. She won't watch it. No. She hasn't actually seen that joke in our own podcast. But anyway, yeah, so I used to run home every night from school and make dinner for my family. And then when I was 15, I got my first job. I'm from North Nottinghamshire originally, so I worked in a place called the Bakery in Retford, which had at the time, it had like a little group of 3, and I worked in one of them. And I quickly outgrew that. And went to work at Chimneys with a Roos Scholar. So Patrick Thompson won the Roos Scholarship when he was 22 at the youngest age. The year before, Sat Baines, which is our most local Roos Scholar. And yeah, and he taught me heaps. And but I definitely had an itch to travel. Sadly, that restaurant actually closed down. I think it was ahead of its time. And soon after, I took off to France. I spent 5 years in France working on barge hotels. I worked for the Orient Express. It was quite a fancy thing. People used to spend, these Americans basically spend tons and tons of cash chartering a boat, and I was like their private chef. So I would have a menu, but they could just come and say, "Hey, Thomas, can we have escargot tonight?" And I would go and buy them and cook them for them. Or idle legs. I know. And my impressions are one of my favorite. And then I knew that I couldn't do that forever because it was a seasonal job. So I used to work April to October, and then with a wad of cash in my back burner, I used to go and spend my winter in Australia or Asia. I went to Africa as well and travelled a bit too. And then on one season when I was travelling, I met Melissa, and she brought me back to the sunny Leicestershire. And I worked a little bit in catering in London whilst trying to find my home. And that was then at the Hammer, where I met Lee. And I think we're sort of, the confluence then sort of comes together. And the story.
Yeah. So tell me about Rustic Kitchen.
Yeah, so we started Rustic Kitchen. Like Lee said, he started Rustic Kitchen as a bit of a side hustle, just to show his flair, really, while still doing the development work. And I called him up after seeing a video about some bloke changing his unit into like a supermarket, because obviously no one could get anything, and we still had the links to like the wholesalers. So I said, why don't we try this? So it started as like a shop and quickly turned into a pop-up where we were selling the sausage rolls, the donuts, the tarts. We used to buy Hambleton Bakery breads and things like that, and just wishes to have fun as well and just try and make some
Yeah.
sort of living. And then, like I said, we kind of we found this place January 2021. The first, literally, we didn't go to work the first day back after Christmas. We just went around driving, trying to find a place, knowing that the world was going to open up and we couldn't stay in our unit. And we decided in my unit, we were going to decide we needed to make it a thing. And quickly we found this place actually.
Yeah, so we were driving around and I always drove past this place, coming out of Stonehurst Farm and saying to my wife, Casey,
just quickly, just for people who don't know where it is, just to describe this.
it's across the road from Domino's in Mount Sorrel.
It's 1899 for one, Loughborough Road in Mount Sorrel. So we're sort of in between.
Mount Sorrel,
We're the edge of the edge of Mount Sorrel on the way to Quorn.
Yeah, which is just outside Loughborough for anybody who doesn't know where that is. Okay, great. Carry on.
About 5 doors down from John's house.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
So you get Michelin star restaurant for anyone who doesn't know that either.
Yeah, Mount Sorrel's got it going on. We've had Michelin star, we've got three great cafes, amazing butchers. We've got it going on. The house prices are rising. About moving quick, folks.
Yeah, we've got Steve across the road. He's got a great little shop stroke pub as well.
Yeah.
The Swan, one of the oldest pubs around.
Yeah.
Quality. Good place.
Fantastic.
Place in the house.
Anyway, so you found this venue.
Yeah, so
Absolute mess. It had a tenant before who'd managed to, I think, not done it properly, and the building was falling down. And so
we thought that's a great spot.
the landlord, when we found it, the landlord had taken it back and had done the structural work and everything to make it safe again. And then we took it from the bare brick, which still remains.
But you'll see on our socials as well some of the pictures of what it looked like before. So the garden, we've literally done all the garden ourselves. We lifted big, massive rocks. We've shoveled hardcore galore and rolled it out for the car park as well. That was one of our main kind of things that we wanted, to use the space in the back, one for a nice eating area for people during the summer, but also we needed the car park for people to park. We know parking's not great around here, so we needed that space to get people kind of in as well. Yeah, and then the decoration inside, we had kind of different phases. We wanted to get open as quickly as possible because we needed the income. So we did the kitchen, we did the downstairs, and then a few months later we got outside open. And then when she got upstairs open as well.
Well, we did fill it to like phases.
Yeah.
And before we knew it, we were in phase 4 and it was done with still no or any sort of payment down. But it's well worth it now.
Yeah. It's because we was lucky enough to be full all the time. And then it got to the summer and then we were kind of filling outside as well, which was great. But then it was like, we're still full. People are waiting for tables, so we have to open upstairs now.
We had to get more outdoor furniture as well. So I've got a van. So I went to IKEA and filled up. We've got the IKEA outdoor furniture, no secret. And I ended up filling 2 of the flatbeds. And I was dragging one and pushing one down. And if you IKEA at Nottingham, there's a ramp on the way down to the campsite. Well, you've never seen a man so scared on that ramp. I nearly, well, I don't know how she managed to get their own skates. They got run over by 30 tables.
Fantastic. So how did it work there? So you both chefs. Are you both doing the chefing and have other people doing front of house? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So we decided early on what our roles are going to be within this. And Lee leads on food. I support, but Lee leads on food. And I've moved from the house. And we have a manager now. So I more sort of try and operate with Lee, and Lee heads the kitchen. So in theory, I head the front of the house and Lee heads the kitchen.
But now over the few years we've been open as well, we've gathered a great team. So we've got Stu that kind of fronts up the kitchen now with me overlooking, and Ashley heads up the front of house team, and with Tom overlooking as well. So we're lucky enough to have really good people in charge, and that filters down through the rest of the team as well. And then we can just kind of overlook things and then step in on holidays and days off and stuff like that. And as well, look to constantly improve what we do and make it easy for the guys downstairs, and also putting processes in place. So if we ever did want to get a number 2, we could transfer it quite simply.
Yeah, fantastic. And so, is it what you expected it to be in terms of when you opened? Because obviously you had, has it been what you hoped it would be and expected it to be?
I think we have. I think it is, but we have moments of like I know when it's really busy, I just done and I'm like, holy crap, people want to eat here. Like it's like a self-doubting, but almost like proud moment. I'm like, hungry.
I know our product's good, but it's a really humbling thing when 5 to 9 you're full and you don't open till 9.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. It really is nice that people keep coming back, even on rainy days, chucking it down, and people storm in, fighting off the weather, and it's just like, you out, and it's like, I just need your food. It's like, great, that's brilliant. So it's a nice humbling thing. But I knew we had a good product, but actually getting a good product out there to the people and for them to enjoy it is completely different as well. It's nice.
So, I mean, other than because what I love about your concept is something that, I mean, because I've got a similar background from you in terms, but I'm front of house, obviously, but coming from that fine dining end of stuff, because I know the Ham and Pincers quite well, because when I had my fine dining restaurant, the Ham and Pincers were my direct competition, even though we're about 20 miles apart from each other. That's how much of the landscape was back then. But taking those learning and understanding from fine dining and that end of the market into what is a cafe, I think therefore you're bringing in all of that high level quality and understanding, but it's being so accessible to people. And I think that's what people are really buying into, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the skills are quite transferable in that, we aim for something very consistent. I think consistency is the main key for us. Like, we can come up with great products, but can we maintain them? And again, we do so, I think, very well. But also, I think like delivery of stuff. I don't know to be derogatory anyway, but you go to places and they just shove your cutlery down. Like I was very particular about lay the napkin down, put the fork and knife next to each. Let's set the table around the table, right? Well, since moved on from that, we actually now have the pots. But even so, like, don't chuck it down, place it down, smile, move away, carry on with the day. Create nice conversation if they want it, be invisible if that's what they wish as well, crack a joke. I'm forever saying things I'm probably not meant to say, but it makes people laugh. It makes people laugh, and I hope that they then leave going, not just going, that chap's funny, but also what a great experience. So.
Yeah. But it's also, as well with food, we're using techniques that restaurants would use, and we're implementing them into food that's recognizable within our kind of, our sector. Niche. Our steak and eggs, using, putting a beef fat through our chimichurri. It's like something that a restaurant do, not necessarily a cafe.
Yeah.
So it's restaurant quality food, but in a more relaxed, accessible environment. That's we want, and I think people like that as well. They don't want to book 2 months in advance just to get a cup of coffee and a croissant. They want to turn up, and
we will never have reservations.
No, I don't. It just wouldn't work. We don't want to alienate people.
But I think that's really important, though, isn't it? That to understand that just because somebody doesn't want to spend a fortune, it doesn't mean that they don't care about the quality of their experience, and their experience and their time and their money is still equally as important, no matter how much actually they're spending on stuff.
For us, we just want to give the best quality product we can give, whether that's a croissant, whether that's a cup of tea, cup of coffee. We want it to be better than anyone else, and we'll strive to be better as well every time.
And we're both in tune on that as well, which I think is a special relationship between me and Ida. We are both passionate about that. It's not like one's dragging the heels of the other. And we're massively, from at the end of the hammer, our career split for nearly 10 years, myself to catering and these into development. And we both learned huge amounts of things in that time as well, and bringing them back into the mix, I think is really valuable. Like the yin and yang. We are like, we're chalk and cheese in terms of sort of like how we work, but it works.
Yeah. And it's also learning about consistently learning as well. So we did a versus against Hammer and Pincer this year to celebrate their 20th anniversary. It was like Rustic Kitchen versus Hammer. Get the result, which was great. It's great learning. They've got 3 rosettes and it's a brilliant place. But to learn with them guys, and then we go on food tours as well every year, down to London. We'll spread it around, go to Manchester as well, just to learn what's fresh and what's happening in London in different places, and
What food cats are doing,
and to test ourselves against them as well. Just like, is their cheese toasty better than other cheese toasty kind of thing?
That's one of the benchmarks that we looked at actually, and I was like, that wasn't very good. He's like, and Lee was like, it's not too better than ours. Ours is better. That's the thing, and I was like, oh yeah.
It's like you see these prices are up in the lights and kind of go, this is going to be amazing. And when you kind of think ours is not too dissimilar to that, you're on a kind of the right track.
Yeah.
And if it's important to not be kind of blinkered and just stay in your place and think your food's amazing, you need to go out and see everyone else's. And we did the judging as well for Great Food Club restaurants, didn't we? And that was good, just to try different places, food, and look at their establishments as well. And it was just a really nice, and just always constantly learning. It's just, you have to keep on moving forward, and you can't just keep on kind of be blinkered and say, no, this is what I do. This will be great.
One of our values is to innovate, to constantly just look forward to see what's best, not always right, what's best for us, understand and change and make change. There's no status quo, we're always moving forward.
And I absolutely love that. I mean, that striving to be the best means that you are always wanting to learn and looking for those opportunities to learn. And with that in mind, actually, can I ask the question, what do you think has been your biggest mistake? Because I think that's where a lot of learning takes place, when you actually make the mistakes.
Biggest mistake
since opening Rustic Kitchen? Why is it?
I think if you could do...
Or any point in your careers. I mean, because you will have been missteps or times when actually things didn't go well.
Personally, I think if we'd have known, it's that classic, if I knew now what I knew then, I knew then what I know now, that would be really helpful. So like I just talked about our values there. I think if we'd instilled those, if we'd have talked about them and instilled them and implemented them within the team as best we could early on, we'd have got right people in the right place quicker. We've got 4, and we basically use that as a benchmark to employ people, If they aren't pleasant to be around, if they aren't innovative, if they're not honest, they might not get the job, quite honestly. They've got to be happy, They aren't passionate about what you do. You've got to be honest, you've got to be innovative.
Well, that's the whole point.
And those
personality, isn't it?
Yeah,
whole point of hospitality.
If they don't make, they come in as an interview and they're not very passionate about something, or I don't want anyone to work there just to be a job. It's got to be that they want to work in hospitality, want to do something cool, want to work with like-minded people. So I think mistake, I don't know if it's a mistake, but it's definitely a massive learning. I think in theory we haven't made those mistakes because we haven't benchmarked those people against those. But I didn't know it was a mistake at the time.
Yeah. I think as well, we was on a tight budget when we started this, and we could only get some equipment that we could afford, which again isn't a mistake, but I will always say try and buy the best quality equipment that you can get, because the turnover of equipment is really damaging, because it just, and especially if it goes on like a Sunday when you're really busy. But that's again too often still. But that again is, I wouldn't say it's a negative thing, because that's all we could afford at that point. Just try and get the best quality stuff you can get is a good learning for if we did it again.
Brilliant. And you mentioned earlier on about, that part of the motivation for opening Rustic Kitchen was to get that, or to have a go at getting that work-life balance, at least being better than being employed as chef. So do you think you achieved that? Is that something that has happened?
I think we'd certainly getting there.
It's definitely getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the start of this year. We both decided we weren't working Sundays, which is, I mean, it helps no end, obviously, because you just get to spend a full day with your family. And obviously, actually, I've worked the last 2 Sundays, but you have to take the good with the bad.
Yeah. But for me, it's massively kind of this year, it's been a hell of a lot better than the first 2.5 years. I was pretty much working like 6-7 days a week kind of thing. But, so that was hard, but you're always striving for something. It's not like there's no kind of light at the end of the tunnel. You're striving for that point of where we are now. We've got 4 chefs in the kitchen that are all brilliant and they're helping us out massively. So having that team around us, when we started this, it was me and then Vaish come along. So there was 2 of us and then there was 3 of us. And then it was kind of like we're getting busier and busier and even 3 of us wasn't enough kind of thing. But to have like a team of 4 in there with me as well, it gives us so much time now to do all this stuff and to even just have a time off and not worry about what's going on, because I know they're completely capable of doing everything. It's like, yeah, that is where we want to be, as in like we had a moment, we both had a weekend off, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I come in for brunch on the Saturday and Tom come in for brunch on the Sunday. And the place,
Free lunch, of course. You understand. You can't stay away. Right. You need the perks, don't you?
Yeah. And the place was heaving as our both days, and it was literally like clockwork. It was very nice. It was
Really
like,
proud.
Yeah.
And I was actually in awe. I went to set up in awe of this. It's unbelievable. Like, it's exactly what we want. And there's no failures. Like, everything was lit.
It was completely like perfect. And we're like, well, might as well go on holiday then.
Brilliant.
Let's go to Mexico.
So what do you hope for the future?
To go to Mexico.
I haven't bothered about Mexico. I don't know. I want to go to history. What do we want to do? We would like more rustic kitchens. Our ambition is there to do that. We would like to open 2 or 3, I think, in time. We've had opportunities, but for whatever reason, they just didn't come through or they weren't quite right. And we'll keep looking. We're open to opportunities, of course. So if anyone listening,
but also it doesn't have to be exactly the same as well.
We've got dreams of lots of different.
We've got a skill set that could adapt to different things as well. Whether it's a sandwich shop, whether it's a pie shop, you know what I mean. It's like we could take over a pub kitchen kind of thing and do that kind of thing. The skill set that we have, it doesn't just need to be replicated to another brunch thing. We can fit ourselves into different avenues, which is quite appealing as well. But another rustic kitchen would be the ideal kind of thing, where just to transfer the skill straight over.
Yeah, that's it. We've got a couple of different avenues we can go down. We could literally take this formula here. Like, if we plonk this in the middle of Nottingham, I know that there'd be queues down the street. If we took the lifestyle cob and toasties and sandwich and flatbread menu, and put that in a kiosk in the middle of Leicester, again, I think that would really, really well.
Outside Bradley Park, flying.
Outside Bradley Park, or hot spots of any sorts. And the other dream we have, so that's Lee's dream, is to have a cob shop. Mine is more to have like, a pub pie thing, I think that'd be really awesome to have like a pie pub. But that comes with, everything we've set bay here, which is not working evenings and weekends, so we have to balance. Yeah. We're open to opportunities, and we feel like we could do a lot of things very well.
So what we haven't even mentioned yet is your brilliant podcast. So I want you to firstly, tell everyone how they can get hold of you. So if anyone wants to connect with you or find you, but also tell us about the podcast, because it's brilliant. I love it.
So you can reach out to us if you have any of those opportunities for buildings, or even like chit chat. You can definitely find us on LinkedIn. So Lee Harding or Thomas Bauer. Rustic Kitchen is at Rustic Kitchen Co. And we have a website as well, which is www.rustickitchendeli.com.
And the podcast is on all good podcast suppliers and a couple of bad ones as well.
Yeah, and it's called What's the Story? Hash Brown Glory. We have done one
of
series.
Of course it is.
Watch on Spotify. Spotify is good, isn't it? Because you get to see the video as well.
I do, yeah.
I
just listen. You can get it on YouTube as well. YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, wherever it's sold. and Apple Podcasts. We've had varying guests from suppliers to restaurateurs. So, for example, Steve Pinsent from across the road there. About Harry Gurney, another local restaurateur. And we're planning season 2 now. I'm about to send the invites out next week to record series 2 in the new year. I lost my point there. We plan on series 3 to take it on tour. I don't know if you've heard this. I've got a caravan, and I think me and Yusuf Adam and Lee are going to go in the caravan around the UK. And
It's going to be like a budget Gino Thread
Jordan Rams in it. It's gonna be brilliant, and we're gonna take it around the country, maybe in just like a week.
You'll be Gino.
Okay, I don't mind. I don't care.
I don't be some kind of Fred.
It'll be serious. Yeah.
Lousy.
I'll be
Right, brilliant.
Oh yeah, sorry. We made it into the top 5 or top 10. I'm going to go with 10 because I think it was 10. It might have been 5. The top 10 foodie podcasts in the UK in the first week.
Amazing.
But yeah, I thought that was really cool. I was really proud of that. We were like just edging up with Grimmy and Angela Hartnett and stuff. So
We was over a Channel 4 podcast. So was that fucking Channel 4?
yeah, so
It's
that's the
absolutely-
podcast.
But I will recommend it to everybody because it's all about the industry. It's all about other people doing great things as well. You're telling their stories in a very in a very entertaining way, and it is very entertaining and very enjoyable to listen to. So definitely everyone else after listening to this, get over there and start listening to that as well. Absolutely fantastic. But
We
thank
really
you
enjoyed
both-
it.
Yeah, thank you both so much for your time to tell your story here. I'm just so great talking to people like you, people who are, so passionate about what you do, so driven to be the best, and totally smashing it. It's absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.